later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. I have no shame.
Where's my hat?
You just fall in. A reenactment.
You guys can all like interview each other.
Right.
Yeah, right, I was there, yeah. She fell for me.
Okay, this is one, I read like the last half of it in the last meeting, and I think you had said that like you thought I took too much out of it,
Yeah.
so I put more in.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It has a title, but I don't like it, so I'm just not going to say it. Okay, so untitled. It goes in the gall of the grappled pattern. It goes in what I choose to believe. It goes in what you're telling me. The same things you're selling her, all the things you can't bear to let burn, all the worlds, your pools of honey and fur. Either way it hurts, and I have to admit it's only getting worse. It goes in the grips of the hips, in the grit of the grind, and I always lag behind, but in fiddling I find nothing ever happens at just the right time. But I'm the only one that seems to pay any mind. But it comes in a flash. It comes when I can't feel the drag of the damp air, when I can't even touch the cold under my own skin, but in trying again and again I feel human. It comes after dinner in the comfort of a full silence, when you feel what you work for, an understanding across the table, an honest hand loving somebody I used to know.
That's better.
What?
It's better.
Yeah, thanks. This one, I had like, it's a two-parter. I don't know why I always write them in two parts, but I only have the first part, so you're gonna have to stick around if you want to hear the last part of it. And I'd made like a picture book out of it, but I like changed it, so I have to like make the whole picture book again if I want to show anyone. But it's called Nomad, and this is part one. Stranded, I thought, as I remained motionless, adjacent to the blank soil blackened by ash and heat. My organs, now resting in the background, pumped out a stew of putrid repugnance, spilling out into the streets. Was it just belligerent innocence? Was it bona fide forgetfulness? Where do I stand in this trick? Who's going to fix all of this? Suddenly a soulful voice heard from miles around requested my response as my feet fumbled to find higher ground. It took me a moment to chase myself down. It took me a moment to process the sound of a face that could confound a rootless child like me marinating in the wrong side of town. He slithered around, bringing wise whispers in the crowd, but when he needed to, I was ready to hear it through. He proceeded, I repeated. Do you want to retreat into all that is complete, seal the deal and feel the unreal healing of feeling? I then bounced with ballistic zeal as frigid water shivered over my thick orange peel. Suddenly, startled, I stood awoken by the wind's breath on my body, heatfully highlighting every draft dripping folly. Somehow settling in a state of assumed sanity, the sun snarled seamlessly, sweeping through my hair like the halcyon hovering sky, branches bare. I was now a willful watch instead of a helpless stare. I was not the seam, but the service to the tear. Silhouetted, I searched, having been flung from a fidget. I'm just fragments of digits. Where do I stand in all this? Do I reminisce just to make sure I exist? Soaked, I stood naked, as a shock wave washed over me. I want every definition of what it means to be free. I didn't want to bend to blend with what transcended reality. I didn't want to sedate the weight of something great under the pressure of having to fit everything on one single slate. I wanted my mentality to be rationality, and I wanted to form to the bigger picture. And then this one's called Tennessee Two-Tone. I might change that. I just thought it sounded cool. And it makes sense, but it mostly just sounds cool. Yeah. And this is one of the Poem a Day things,
Oh, is it?
too.
Oh, good.
So, every blink of the eye was a drop below the ground, and even now the paper is starting to make sounds that I'm not writing down. It's amazing what things you come to know on tipsy walks back home to a slippery tent all alone. No one ever picks up their phone, so I ventured off on my own. I ran through Tennessee, back and forth down Shakedown Street, trying to breathe through chattering teeth. They chopped daisies but refused to eat, until Wonka kicked back dirt with his feet and sprinted to the party that he had started down the street. He screamed of pancakes and balloons that would be waiting for me in the morning. Now I can hear the creep of the boys' dirty feet, so I pretended to be asleep. Why I did this was beyond me. They joked of what kind of mother I would be, and what kind of man they would allow me to marry. As they sang hot fun in the summer's rising heat, I found room in my heart to let the hops follow their beat. While every blink of the eye was a drop below the ground, and even now the paper is starting to make sounds that I'm not writing down.